Hello, my name is Brian McMillan and I am a partner in a business called Prairie Stained Glass and School of Craft in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. We're a full-line glass supplier, which means that we have all the tools and supplies you need to work in stained glass or fused glass. So if you're interested at all in any of those types of items, please check our website, www.prairiestainedglass.ca. What I'd like to talk to you about today is some books that we published. We have a publishing arm of our business, which we call Walrus Publications, and we published 18 different books. Started off publishing books on lamps. We have books on vases, on doing cars. We have 2 books we have on classic cars and vans and motorcycles, etc. But what I'd like to talk to you about today is a set of books, 2 books we published called Stained Glass Wind Watchers. So what these are our take on doing weather vanes out of stained glass. So you'll find in both of these books we have numerous designs, and there are designs for interior ones which are meant strictly for decorative value to place on a desk or a tabletop or a buffet, etc. As well as we have some rugged ones that are done on some copper piping which are excellent for outdoors. So that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. Okay, so what we have here is a very good example of an exterior weather vane. The first thing we had to do is figure out is what are we going to use for structure for this. The stained glass components are put together like we would anything else in the copper foil method. Sometimes we have overlays, like in this case we had some screen put on the grill there to add a little extra detail. And we like to use a lot of texture glass because that has a nice sparkle to it. But the components that we use to support the weather vane are all copper plumbing parts you can buy in any hardware store. Basically we have 1/2 inch pipe, 3/4 inch pipe, and a number of different parts that are used to join those parts together. But all of these things should be readily available at your local hardware store. This one was put up to display on an indoor, so we put it on a base cap and just have a short pipe here. But if we wanted this to go outdoors, which we have had this in our garden for many years, what we do is we get a 6-foot piece of either a 1/2 inch copper piping, or you can get a piece of 1/2 inch steel rod, and you can hammer it into the ground. And then this lifts off, and this is the secret here. We have a carriage bolt. And the carriage bolt actually will rotate really nicely on top of this end cap that we have here on the piece of 1/2 inch pipe. So that's what makes this work so easily. And of course, people are always concerned about how is this going to stand up in the weather outside. And the trick is that if it is properly built, it will blow into the wind. So if it's blowing into the wind and the wind is blowing past it, there's really not a lot of stress that's put onto this. Now, of course, there are some factors that have to be taken into account. If you want this to blow into the wind, it's important that you have more mass on the back, but the weight should be equal front and back. And in our book, we have some very good information on how to make sure that happens. In a nutshell, though, what we do is we add lead. Just scrap pieces of lead came to the front of this. So we have the mass larger at the back, and the way we balance the weight is by putting extra weight in this 1/2 inch copper pipe. And since we have lots of scrap lead around, that worked out extremely well. The other thing that's a little different is we use brass brazing rod, which you can buy it at a welding supply shop. Comes in 3-foot lengths. And that's what we used here to give us the support on the side of this. So basically we bend it to the angle that we're looking for, solder it onto the copper pipe, and then solder onto a solder seam on our weather vane. Sometimes what we do here is drill a hole actually, so it goes in there and it's really securely held into that copper pipe. So again, these are all parts you can buy at a local lumber yard. If you'd like to have the north, south, east, and west letters, you can either make those out of sheet copper, which you can buy yourself, cut with scissors or nippers of some sort. Or if you have someone who does water jet cutting, you could look into having them do it out of some kind of material that's solderable, either copper, brass, or steel. The one is something a little more elegant. So we did a fair amount of searching around and we found some really nice brass components that we can use. I would suggest that if you're interested in doing a brass weather vane, we do have all the components you need in a kit. We've searched all over North America to find all the different parts that we needed. Some of them came from lamp manufacturers, some of them came from many different sources. So I think you'll find the time, effort, and cost of getting everything sent to you individually just won't be worth it. So we do sell these on our website. Again, feel free to check that out. So these components, brass of course does solder very nicely. Over time it takes on a nice patina. This one is a few years old. You can see, you know, the brass dulls up, has a really nice look to it. Again, part of our package is we have the brass brazing rod, which will also darken to a nice gold color like the rest of it. And the nice thing about the copper, or the brass, pardon me, is that it just looks really elegant, and it will fit in really well. Often people in their home, they have a lot of brass objects, etc. So this looks really nice. Of course, you could, you know, polish it up if you want to keep it shiny. That's not a problem at all. But this is well worth considering. And we have quite a few different designs of slightly smaller. Usually the exterior ones are a little bigger. We have a really nice Canada Goose or Rooster, which are very popular for the copper ones. The smaller ones usually have more detail, like this horse, for example, is actually a fun project. There's some pretty interesting cuts in here. I would say if you're an experienced glass cutter, you would find this one to be quite a challenge. On the other hand, a lot of the projects in the book are very simple. And in the book, you'll find that we have a complete list of materials that you need. So if you need the copper hardware parts, for example, there's a list of exactly what you need, as well as diagrams. There's a list of all the glass materials. There's a full-size pattern. All of Walrus publication books have full-size patterns. You never have to blow anything up. It's all there full size. As well as complete instructions. So every particular project, we've figured out how much weight you needed in the front of it, for example, to balance out the front and the back, and we'll tell you how much lead to put in the front. So I think you'll find that it's a really well thought out book that has all the information you need and can make this project a really fun project for someone who has had a little bit of experience working in stained glass. So thanks for watching, and please check out our other videos.